Alright, I've got a nice piece of short leaf pine here on the lathe. I'm just going to start with a round piece of stock, and what we're going to do is we're going to make, if I can get it in here, one of these little Christmas tree ornaments. Now, they're very easy to make using the right tools, and once you get them made, you're probably thinking, well, how are you going to hang it? Well, right here where the tailstock goes into, you can take one of these little tiny, oops, now I dropped it. Yeah, I'll pick it up. One of these little tiny eye screws. You can make a pilot hole, screw it in, put a nice little decorative piece of string onto it, and hang it up on the Christmas tree. So I'm gonna round this off and I'm gonna show you how I make them. Now, you only need a piece about 4 inches long, maybe by 2.5, 3 inches across. Maybe not quite that. It's just a small piece, as you can see. So I'm gonna get it rounded off. Speed her up some. I'm at about maybe 1,000 RPMs at the most. All I'm going to do is just round it off, make it nice and round first to start off with. They're very quick, very easy to make. Okay, that's a little easier. Now, all I'm going to do is just bring that in just a tiny bit, and I'm going to straighten up my ends. I've always gotten into the habit of straightening up the ends on my pieces before I start shaping them. I think just to make it go a little better. Now I can speed it up some, and I'm going to be using a spindle gouge. And all I'm going to do is just start taking it down. I usually try to make these probably about 4 inches, 3.5, 4 inches long. You can make them smaller if you prefer. I usually try to get it down to a bit of a cone shape. And once I get it down to a cone shape, then you can start making it look a little more like a tree. Right down to the point. Now you won't need your chuck. You won't need to put it in a chuck at all. Just between the centers. You just work on it a little bit here and there, just to get it down to the shape that you want it. I'm just taking my spindle gouge, I'm just more or less pivoting my spindle gouge in between my fingers. I'm not pushing very hard onto it. Okay, now at the bottom you want a little bit of a tree trunk there, so I'm just going to use my parting tool. And I'm going to go in and make a little bit of a tree trunk, but I got to go up above my spur in order to get it in there a little ways. Making a nice little tree trunk right there. Now, I've got a round nose scraper, and I'm just going to get that curve. Start getting the curve into it. Nice and slow. Working on it as I go up. Now you don't necessarily have to make the same shape. You can go with a different shape onto it, whatever you think is gonna look like a little Christmas tree. Alright, so now I am going to give it a little scrape. I gotta get my tailstock in here, my tool rest in here a little bit tighter. And I'm just gonna use a little detail skew. And all I'm doing is just smoothing it out. Take the tool marks out of it. Refine the shape of it a little bit more. Now just a little round nose scraper. To get into that curve. Now comes the shape of it. All you need is just a little parting tool. And I can't seem to find my little parting tool. Okay, so I got my little parting tool. It's just one of these wrenches that for the for taking my plate off, or my my chuck. So I made a little parting tool. It's a little thinner than the actual parting tool that I've got, and I've sharpened it, and she's all ready. So now I just start up here at the top. There's no measuring, just go by guess. But as you're doing it, make the inside look a little more like a cone shape as well. So all I'm doing is just going down into it nice and straight. Working my way down. They're just simple and easy little ornaments to make. They're not hard. You can use your regular parting tool, which is going to be a little wider than this, but it still works. And there we have our tree. Now it's just going to take a little bit of sanding, just smoothing it over here. Start with a 100 grit, and I'm going to a 120. You don't need to go all out onto them. I mean, make it simple, but make it look good. Now I'm going to go to 220, smoothing it out. I can even take my 220 and bend it a little bit and go inside the little crevices, smoothing them out a little bit. Now all I do is just put a little shellac onto them. Sand with the 220 in between the coats, and maybe put about 3 coats on, maybe 4 if you like a little real good glossy shine to it. You can always put more coats on. It'll come out better sanding in between the coats. There we go. And you still got the little nib right here. You could drill a tiny little pilot hole in there and put that little eye screw into it, and put a nice little string, or maybe a little Christmas string that you can buy in the hobby shops or bargain stores. And there we are. There's my little Christmas tree ornament. Alright, until next time.